You know, I didn't always think there was a point to having hobbies. I thought they were guilty pleasures that took away from work time, but then something happened that made me realize just how important hobbies are. But like any good story, we need to start at the beginning.
Laid under the willow tree, the last weekend of summer.
So I don't know if you know this, but I actually started YouTube again from scratch after leaving behind an old channel. I wholeheartedly believe in my journey, but in order to keep creating videos, I need alternative income. I got laid off last September, and I've been trying to find a job for a year, and I finally thought this week that I was hired, and just at the last minute, this job also fell through. And I am so exhausted. I've been in such survival mode this past year that I've barely been living, and I'm just no longer willing to put off everything that I enjoy about life for whenever I'm going to become financially stable. I had been worrying about tomorrow so much that I couldn't even create properly. Every time I sat down to work on videos, the blank screen would look back at me oppressively. Succeed or else, it seemed to say. If my constant survival mode was even hampering my YouTube channel, something absolutely had to change. While I can't control when I'll get hired or when this channel will monetize, I deserve to enjoy life no matter what state I'm in, because that is something I can control. But then I suddenly realized, what did I even enjoy doing? Was I drawn to nature? Did I like to make things with my hands? For too long, I had simply been too busy to live, and it had cost me pieces of my identity. Well, how was I going to find them again? It was time to try everything I never got to do.
Now don't you ever be sad. Lean on me when times get bad.
Since there are an endless amount of hobbies to choose from, I decided to pick 3. An intellectual pursuit, something in nature, and something that I can make with my hands. I decided to start with the intellectual pursuit, something I was already familiar with. I've actually been building a fantasy world since I was 14, and with no plans to get it published for a good few years, this would serve as the perfect challenge. What did my creativity look like without the shackles of pressure and perfectionism? As I sat down to write, with no other plans but to indulge my whims and my fantasies, my ideas exploded. They flew out onto the pages faster than my fingers could keep up, exploring absurd ideas and situations that my fear of failure usually stifled. It hit me suddenly how long it had been since I had created just for fun, how long I had denied myself this freedom. After choosing a hobby within my comfort zone, I knew it was time to try something I was completely unfamiliar with. Gardening. You see, I'm a cosmopolitan creature. I spend time in coffee shops, I comment on architecture, and I rarely spend time in the dirt. I'm realizing that I don't actually know how to get dressed for gardening. But even if being left alone in my friend's garden scared me, I always had this curiosity about plants and what it would be like to work with them. Oh my god, look at that. Oh my god. I feel alive in a way that I haven't in a really long time. I always knew that I've had this like connection to nature, but it was never something that I explored so much, you know? It feels like a part of me has been awakened. I don't know, like they say that there's such a thing as gardener's high, and I for sure believe it. It's almost like the plants are like, thank you for taking care of me, and then they just like give over this energy to you that you can then like reciprocate. And I feel endorphins, as if I just exercised. If my second hobby took me out of my comfort zone, then this time I wanted to go back to my roots and reconnect with a simple hobby I used to love. I wanted to cook myself dinner. Except that there is nothing in the fridge. Which means that you and I are going shopping.
Mama, baby, lollipop, tell you why. This kiss is sweeter than an apple pie. And when he does a shaky rock and dance, man, I haven't got a chance. I call him lollipop, lollipop, lollipop.
So my friend actually let me keep 2 of the veggies that I harvested from her garden. So we have a little baby squash and then we have a little baby bell pepper. So obviously I'm gonna use it for dinner. Experimenting with food again brought back so many memories. Suddenly I was 15 again and my dad was teaching me how to make proper tahini or how to find the ripest watermelon. And then I was 18 and discovering food YouTubers for the first time, trying things like almond butter and kale and other ingredients my Mediterranean household had never heard of. And then I was 20, and I got the reign of my kitchen as my mom went to visit my elderly grandparents, and my dad and I got to cook together for Shabbat. He'd make the hummus, and I'd pick a country and explore. I learned that month that I'm a really good cook. Okay. So let's have a little taste test. Sweet potato with the tahini. Oh my god, such a good combination. So when had I forgotten that? I think when I started believing that having time to discover yourself was a luxury, not a necessity. Perhaps because in my single-focused pursuit of money and success, I thought that being a famous YouTuber would eventually define me. I'm actually so glad that I haven't been able to reach my dreams yet. Is it excruciatingly painful to watch others surpass you and continuously fear you'll never get there? Yes. But through that pain, I learned to grow my worth and identity outside of things that don't actually matter when it comes to who you are as a person. So then the question is, who am I? I know I'm curious about books, about new cultures, trying new things, and most importantly, about myself. I have a huge imagination and a bigger connection with plants than I realized. I'd love to learn more about botany one day and the healing properties of herbs. I know I'm a hard worker, but that I can sometimes work a little too hard, but that I also never give up, and that no matter what situation I'm in, I will always believe in myself. And that's the most important lesson I learned from having hobbies. My circumstances don't define me. I define me. And no matter whether I'm rich or poor, a YouTuber or a dreamer, I'm a really cool person. And that's all that matters.